Hello and welcome to our show today. I'm Jamie Smith, Cancer Control Specialist with the Kentucky Cancer Program. Pancreatic cancer is currently the fourth leading cause of cancer death in the United States and is anticipated to become the second by 2020. Pancreatic cancer is one of the nation's deadliest cancers with a 5-year relative survival rate of just 6%. An estimated 74% of patients will die in the first year of diagnosis. This year, an estimated 46,420 people will be diagnosed with pancreatic cancer in the U.S., and approximately 39,590 will die from the disease. Today, I am joined by two wonderful ladies, each having a personal mission behind their work with pancreatic cancer. Carol Foreman is Community Representative for Western Kentucky with the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network, and Lindsey Bradford is a volunteer with the local Western Kentucky Pancreatic Cancer Action Network. We are happy to have them join us today and learn more about their story and the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network. Welcome to the show, ladies.
Thank you.
Carol, if we could start with you and just tell us a little bit about yourself and how you became involved with the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for having us here. We really appreciate this. I became a volunteer 4 years ago with the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network, and it all started for me back in 2010 when my father was diagnosed with stage 4 metastatic pancreatic cancer. And my father had no treatment options.
Right.
8 weeks later, he died. And I really just wanted to educate myself, so I started looking for information about the disease on the internet. And I wasn't finding hardly anything out there. But I came across this organization, the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network, and I saw in states across the country, there were people creating awareness, wearing purple shirts, walking in fundraisers. And I knew this was something that I needed to be a part of. And at the time, when I went to their interactive map and I clicked on Kentucky, nothing was coming up. So I reached out to them to find out what was wrong, why there wasn't anything going on. And at that time, they didn't have anybody representing them because it is a volunteer-based organization.
Okay.
So I made the decision 2 months after Daddy died to become a volunteer, to bring awareness to our community, and I'm now the community representative here in Western Kentucky.
And you certainly have made an impact on the community.
Thank
so congratulations with everything that you've done. And Lindsey, you became involved just a few years ago, but you want to kind of tell people how you did become involved?
I became involved around June of 2012. Not long after my mom was diagnosed, I had become my mom's full-time caregiver. We were at MD Anderson in Houston for her treatment, and we came home on a long weekend break. And you know, while we were there, we never really got any hope for anything. It was pretty much just medical and straight to the point. And from the day that she was diagnosed, they weren't giving her good odds. And that's hard to take as a daughter. You know, you want to give her everything and you want her to always be there. So when we were home, I was just kind of playing around on Facebook, and I came across the Facebook page, and there was a post from the Western Kentucky Pancreatic Cancer Action Network that they were having a meeting that night. And within 30 minutes, we were there. And, you know, that's not normally who I am. Usually I'm just the one that sits back and watches stuff. And then, but I just knew that I had to do it for her. And, you know, walking into a room full of people that knew exactly what you were going through was an amazing thing, because we hadn't had that. You know, we got statistics. We didn't have any hope.
Right.
And they encouraged me and helped me support her through all her treatment. And they also connected me with the patient and liaison services, who became a really good support system for me throughout the fight, even though we were, you know, hundreds of miles away from the people that I knew.
That's great. And we're going to learn so much more about some of those things that you mentioned during the show today, but I just want to say thank you both for coming on today and sharing your personal stories, and obviously it kind of drives you all into your work that you all do. So let's talk a little bit about pancreatic cancer. You both know it close because of your loved ones that have been affected by it.
Exactly.
But what do we know about pancreatic cancer as a society today?
Well, like you said in the introduction, pancreatic cancer is the fourth leading cause of cancer death in the United States, and it is anticipated to become number 2 by the year 2020. The 5-year survival rate is the lowest of all the major cancers at just 6%. It's the only cancer in the single digits.
And what is that compared to lung cancer?
Lung cancer is, I believe, 12%.
Right. So,
12%.
You know, and people most of the time people think, you know, lung cancer not very good, but pancreatic cancer is quite staggeringly low.
Exactly, and that survival rate hasn't changed in about 40 years. You know,
there's a lot of work
nothing's
to be
changed.
done.
There is. There is.
So let's talk about what we do know with pancreatic cancer. People always ask, what are some symptoms? What are risk factors? So Lindsey, tell us a little bit about those symptoms that one might have.
Well, the symptoms are pretty vague, so there's not anything to know, like this is the problem that I need to go to the doctor for. They can be, back and abdominal pain, unexplained weight loss, digestive issues, or changes in the stool. But most of the time, jaundice, which is yellowing of the skin and eyes, is what triggers the diagnosis. And that's what happened with my mom that triggered her diagnosis and to pursue what was going on with her.
Unfortunately, some of those symptoms that you mentioned could make people think it could be something else. And so obviously more tests are ran, and then eventually it may lead to the pancreatic cancer diagnosis, but it's after a field of tests to rule out other things.
Right.
Exactly.
What about risk factors? People often ask that a lot.
Yes.
What are the risk factors? What can be controlled, not controlled? So tell us about some of those risk factors.
Risk factors, smoking, of course. There's family history, chronic and hereditary pancreatitis, and obesity. So there's some things that we can change. So especially with the smoking and being overweight and everything, that is a huge risk factor.
Right. It's a huge risk factor for all cancers.
Right.
Actually, now we know
Exactly.
that. So obviously, then we can help prevent pancreatic cancer with some of those things, choosing to quit smoking, a healthy diet and exercise. But what else? Is there anything else people can do to reduce the risk for pancreatic cancer?
So little is still known about it. So,
Exactly.
we do about 10% of pancreatic cancer cases are, have a hereditary link.
Right.
So we have, this amazing organization where they can get more information, and we also have family registries that they can look into that are taking place all around the country for that.
So tell us a little bit more about family registries. They've done those with other cancers before, but what exactly do they do when they enter in this registry, and what does the registry do for tracking purposes?
Well, from what I understand, just keeping track of your family history. I know I'm in a family registry, and it was really emotional and difficult for me to do this because it was soon after my father died. But to sit down and go back into his history, his dietary habits, his living habits, and also even within the family, his brothers, sisters, anybody in the family, you kind of go back into study their history, and then sharing some of your information, and just keeping all that data so they can study this disease. And on the registry that I'm personally on, every year they send me an update that I fill out if there's been any new changes in our life,
Right.
anybody else in our family been diagnosed. And sadly, about 2 years after my father died, one of his first cousins did die from the disease. So, I'm glad I'm in the program. There will come a time they may reach out to me for blood testing or anything, but right now it's just more of the data they're compiling.
Okay.
The Pancreatic Cancer Action Network can guide someone to these registries across the country. So it's definitely a fantastic resource.
That's what I was going to ask. So if they went to their website or called, then they
Calling PALS would be a fantastic thing to do, and,
Okay.
and they would give
And we
that
have the number up there on the
information.
screen right now. It's 877-272-6226, and you can find out more about those registries. So let's talk then a little bit about the treatment options one might have. Again, you've all mentioned that there's little that we do know, survival rates are low, but what treatment options does someone have if they were to receive that diagnosis?
Normally patients would have a surgery, the Whipple procedure, or chemotherapy and radiation combined. That's really all there is right now. We do encourage people to think about and explore clinical trials when they're looking into treatment options. We have a huge database where we can customize a clinical trial search, for your area and what your needs are. So
That's good to know. Clinical trials definitely are, making good things happen
Right,
today.
that's the hope of the future for
Right.
this disease.
Okay. So pancreatic cancer, somebody receives the diagnosis, but again, it's after several steps. So why is it so hard for us to detect pancreatic cancer?
Well, pancreatic cancer is so hard to detect because of the location of the pancreas. It's deep in the abdomen. You can't feel that. The symptoms are so vague, and we don't have an early detection method or a screening option as we do for some other cancers. So it's just a matter of, by the time you get symptoms, to be able to go and investigate what those are.
To find it soon enough.
Exactly.
So pancreatic cancer is so deadly. A lot of those times when it is diagnosed, it is late stage. But why? And so that can play a lot into that reasoning. Is that why survival rates are so low?
It is. Well, the mortality rate is so high because typically when a patient is diagnosed, the disease has already spread to other organs.
Okay.
You know, I know with my father, this kind of goes a little bit into his history. His is very unique than most cases. My father was actually diagnosed by a dermatologist. His cancer had metastasized to his skin.
Wow.
He went in with a lump on his face just thinking he had an ingrown hair, maybe a little skin cancer. And after a biopsy was done, it tested positive for adenocarcinoma. My father was admitted to the hospital, and after a PET scan, they found out that he had tumors throughout his body. His case was unusual, but that's the whole thing about pancreatic cancer is once it spreads, there's really no treatment options.
Right, definitely, and that's very unusual.
Extremely.
So let's talk about this Pancreatic Cancer Action Network. Obviously, you all are strong believers in this organization. It's meant a lot to you all during your journey that you took with your family members. So tell us a little bit more about the organization, because a lot of viewers may have never heard of it.
Well, the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network is the national leader in the fight against pancreatic cancer. And we have a bold goal. We are going to double the survival rate of pancreatic cancer by the year 2020. And you talk of the survival rates, we're at 6%. We would love to be at 12%.
Right.
We would love to reach where lung cancer is. So, you know, we need more research in this disease, so we need to increase the federal funding to research it.
Okay. Is there a website or anything that people can go to learn more about the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network? If they were to just Google it, they could find it?
Pancan.org.
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 All right. Let's talk about what you all do. You all are strong advocates of this organization, so let's talk a little bit about advocacy and what that is and where you all do that, not only locally but also on the national level.
Well, advocacy is just about using your voice to educate your members of Congress about the disease. Locally, we'll set up meetings with our senators and representatives when they're at home. On a national level, we travel to Washington, D.C. to attend the Pancreatic Cancer Advocacy Day in June on Capitol Hill. That's such an amazing experience. My first year there was the summer after my mom passed away, so it was very powerful, and I took her picture with me, and they got to hear my story and why I'm fighting for her. And then people that can't travel, we have a national call-in day that happens on that same day. It's very easy to become an advocate and has made such a huge difference in just my short time involved with them.
Give the viewers some examples of some of those things you meet with them about and ask them for.
Well, when you're meeting with your member of Congress, you know, they're there to serve us, and they don't know what you feel like you need if you don't meet with them. And so with us, we go in and share our stories. First of all, we always share our loved one's story, and then we let them know what's important to us. And as we were working to have the Recalcitrant Cancer Research Act passed, you know, we were focusing on having the National Cancer Institute create a plan for this disease, and just letting them know that this is important. So finally we were able to take care of this and get this bill passed to have the Cancer Institute develop a plan for pancreatic cancer or all the deadliest cancers. You know, and now what we're sharing with them is letting them know that we have a plan in place. Now we need to increase funding for research. So it's just being able to educate them about what's important to the constituents in their district.
And tell the viewers a little bit about that bill. Some people may have never heard about it, but what did that bill really entail? Because you weren't asking for money at that point in time from Congress to go towards it. What were you exactly asking for?
What we were wanting is a plan. We wanted a scientific framework, just to have a plan of how we can find an early detection, find screening methods, treatment options for cancers with the lowest survival rates.
So this bill is not only going to affect pancreatic cancer, but perhaps lung cancer as well.
This bill, and it is now a law. It is now a law now. It's going to be powerful for all cancers, pancreatic cancer, lung cancer, all your cancers that have the lowest survival rates, which pancreatic cancer is the lowest.
Right.
And it is a law now. And the National Cancer Institute has already taken the initiative, and they've already created the scientific framework. They've already presented this to Congress. We have a plan now.
Good, good.
Now's the next steps.
That's right, that's right. So obviously you've had some positive feedback then from your efforts there in Washington. So how else do you expect, Washington to respond to those efforts? Anything else that you all are working on, or what you all want to see in the future that you're going to be working on?
Well, what we're wanting to do now is we want them to stop cutting the National Cancer Institute. Funding for medical research is crucial right now. If you're the brightest scientist and you go into researching cancers and you see funding and you see a couple of pennies over here for this cancer and you see some $100 bills over here, remember, you're the brightest of scientists. Where are you going to use your intelligence and research? So what we want them to do is, now that we have a plan with the National Cancer Institute for these cancers with the low survival rates, we want the funding to stay there, especially for pancreatic cancer. It's just crucial. So that's our main objective right now, is letting Congress know that we need to quit cutting the National Cancer Institute's funding, and that's going to benefit all cancers.
Is there any reasoning behind why pancreatic cancer has been so underfunded in research?
You know that.
I mean, we don't have any survivors. We don't have anybody to tell their story or to advocate for more funding. We have other cancers. It's the squeaky wheel that gets the grease. So who's going to be that? We have to choose to do that, be their voice for those that aren't here anymore.
Right.
During October, it's amazing to see all the breast cancer survivors, and we see pink all over. And these survivors are advocates. As they stand up and share their story, they are being advocates. We have so few survivors to be the voices of pancreatic cancer, so it is left up to us.
Yes.
And you, even if you're not affected by this disease, you can use your voice, because you're hearing that this cancer will become number 2 by 2020 if we don't change the course of this disease today.
Right. Well, and it's amazing too, because that, pink started with a promise between two sisters, so it's like that now. I mean, here you all are with a promise to your loved ones that you've lost, that you all are going to make a difference too, and you're well on your way. Let's talk about what resources are available. If someone wants to receive a pancreatic cancer diagnosis, then what kind of services, resources could they get if they were to be put in contact with the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network?
Okay, our patient and liaison services provides patients and their family members with the most current information on the disease, treatment options, clinical trials, diet and nutrition, symptom management, and support. With so few effective treatment options, clinical trials are so extremely important for our scientists to find new and better treatment options that are going to ultimately increase the survival rate. So PALS educates the patient and the caregiver on their options, as well as the value of a clinical trial. And we can do a personalized clinical trial search, letting them know where it's available. Their information is always kept strictly confidential, and these services are all free at the organization.
That's great to know that that is available. So what kind of community outreach are we doing locally here? I know that both of you are strongly active here locally in Western Kentucky. So let's talk about some of those things that you all do locally.
Well, our local group meets monthly. Usually it's around the second Thursday of the month at Lourdes Hospital. And then we also, the last Sunday in October, hold the Purple Light Awareness event, which kicks off National Pancreatic Cancer Awareness Month in November. And then we also have a day that's set aside that's Purple for a Purpose, where everybody across the country, thousands of people wear purple. We engage on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and educate our community about the disease and what's going on and how they can, help in our fight.
Okay. I've attended the Purple Light before, and it's definitely a memorable event and can be very emotional, but it's very inspiring as well. And so tell the viewers a little bit about what they might experience if they were to attend a Purple Light.
Well, it's a group of people, that whether it's be survivors who have, battled and won this against this disease, and it's also for loved ones who have lost their family members way too soon. I know for me that my mother was the speaker at the first Purple Light I attended, and she passed away less than 2 months afterwards. And then last year I was honored to be the speaker, and I got to tell my mom's story since she wasn't there anymore. And it was kind of a healing process, because I know that every year that I attend, her name is called, and as long as I do this, everyone will know what kind of woman she was, and that she she won't be forgotten.
Right. So this event is kind of held in the evening hours,
Right.
and then why is it held in the evening? We mentioned purple light, so maybe that might give it away. But Carol, you want to tell the viewers what exactly you do with the purple lights?
Okay, and this is an opportunity for the whole community to come together to create awareness for this disease. And for our vigil, well, we called it a vigil in the beginning. Now
Right.
it's an awareness event. You want to have it in the evening. Usually, what we do at our event is we have people a time where they can come and get checked in to make sure that we have your loved one's name listed. Give out the glow sticks. We've been so honored to. The last few years, we've had Texas Roadhouse out there serving hot soup, which is wonderful when it's cool. We've had a memory wall where you can leave a message about your loved one, luminaries that you can write their name on and set them out. We have music playing, and usually one or two speakers at the event, and then we have the name reading ceremony. During the ceremony, when your loved one's name is read, you crack your glow stick and you hold that stick up in the air. We usually will have a vocalist that'll sing, and it really just turns the night purple. For me, being able to crack that glow stick when my father's name is read is so healing. There's just something about the sound of that stick cracking and then you holding it up. It's just a beautiful, inspiring event. It's to honor, inspire, and remember our loved ones. We honor the survivors we have, and we want more of them.
Absolutely.
Yes.
It's amazing to sit back. I often sit back, just kind of watch, and to see all the glow sticks held up is amazing. It's
Exactly. And again,
definitely
you don't
experience.
have to be affected by the disease to take part in this event. We would love to light the night purple in Paducah when we have our event by having more people come out just to support the awareness of the disease.
Right. So Lindsey, you mentioned the purple light. Let's talk a little bit more about this year's event and how people can become involved in that.
Well, the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network's Purple Light, it's a gathering for survivors, family, and friends. This year we're going to be holding it on Sunday, October 26th in Noble Park at Shelter 16. We'll have check-in. It'll start around at 6, and we encourage everyone to check in. That's where we're going to make sure you have your loved one's name and that you also get your glow stick there. Texas Roadhouse is going to be serving refreshments, and we'll have luminaries to write your loved one's name on, and the event will begin at 7. It's a free event, but donations are always encouraged.
Okay. So you mentioned people get a glow stick. What exactly are they going to do with that glow stick?
Well, when the name of their loved one is called during this ceremony, they will crack the glow stick and hold it up in either an honor or memory of their loved one.
Okay. And I've attended this in the past, and I honestly have never lost a loved one to pancreatic cancer. I've never had anybody in my family diagnosed with it. But I can tell you it's a truly emotional night, even for myself not having been personally touched by pancreatic cancer. And so maybe you could share with the viewers kind of how you feel during that. You've been there with your mom as a survivor, and then you've been there now with the year when she was gone. So how does that make you all feel as you light that glow stick with your family's member name?
Well, it's kind of a healing process, because you know that you're fighting for her and that you know that they're not going to be forgotten. And when you hold it up and you look around and the night is black and then you see all the purple glow sticks, you don't feel alone, and you know that everyone is there for the same reason you are, is to find early detection and to find a cure for this disease. And it's just an amazing feeling seeing that everybody in our community come together for it.
It's very powerful.
Yeah.
Very
For me,
powerful
it's just
event.
even the process of breaking the stick. Just crack that stick and you hold it up. It's just, it's almost like you've taken action,
Right.
you've done something. And you mentioned not being affected by the disease. The last name we call is the name of all of those that have, in the 39,000, the 40,000 that will die this year.
Right.
So it would be great to have more people holding a stick up for them.
How can someone register for the event then? Because we want everybody that comes to have a glow stick. So how do they register for this event?
They can go to purplelight.org and it'll ask them to search for an event, and they'll just go under Kentucky and then the Western Kentucky, and then they can fill out their loved one's name in the name field of that page.
Okay.
You don't have to register online to come, but we are being sent the glow sticks through our national office. So the more registration we get ahead of time, the more glow sticks we have available, and we want everybody attending the event to have a glow stick. So we really, really encourage everyone to please register as soon as possible.
All right. And so you mentioned, some local support with that. Texas Roadhouse is going to have some food there, so people be sure to stop by, and they can get their
Yes.
belly full too. All right. If anybody has any questions, what's the best way to reach you locally to talk about this event?
You can email me at cforeman, that's Foreman, at pancanvolunteer.org, or even on our Facebook page, you can send a message or post something there, and I respond real quickly to that.
Okay, and what's your group's name on Facebook?
Pancreatic Cancer Action Network, Western Kentucky.
All right, and then you have a Twitter account as well?
We do, Pancan West KY.
All right, so everybody get on your social media this afternoon or this evening, whatever, and start following, right?
Tweeting and retweeting and posting.
There you go. All right, so Lindsey, you also mentioned Purple for a Purpose Day. Carol, do you want to tell us a little bit more about that and what that will entail this year?
I will. November is Pancreatic Cancer Awareness Month, and we would love to see everyone in our community wearing purple throughout November, putting bows on your door, just decorating the city purple. Purple for a Purpose is actually on November the 13th this year, and we're very excited that this will also be the first ever World Pancreatic Cancer Day. This is a campaign that's being driven by pancreatic cancer organizations across the globe to raise the profile and awareness of pancreatic cancer. We're really excited about this. What we're inviting our community to do is to wear purple on November the 13th, take a selfie, a group photo, post it on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, using the hashtag Purple for a Purpose. This campaign will be going on across the country, and we would love to see the bluegrass state turn purple for a day at least on November the 13th.
All right, so everybody has time to go out and get their purple. If you don't have it in your closet, now's an excuse to go shopping.
Exactly, exactly.
Get your purple and get your social medias going and post your selfies or your group photos. That will always be fun. And again, let's give the names so that they know where to post their pictures too. So if they were going to tag your group on Facebook, what was the name of that Facebook page again?
Facebook is Pancreatic Cancer Action Network, Western Kentucky. And you can and put the hashtag Purple for a Purpose, or with Twitter it would be at Pancan West KY, and you can mention Pancan West KY with that hashtag as well.
All right. Well, thank you, ladies, for joining us today and sharing this valuable information with us. Viewers, I hope that you all learned a little bit more about pancreatic cancer today and about the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network. We hope you'll be involved in the Purple Light awareness event and the Purple for a Purpose Day. And if you have any questions about today's show, please give us a call at our local office at 270-442-1310. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.